Good afternoon and welcome to all the principals, heads of institutions, academicians and other stakeholders who have joined us today for this seminar or a webinar, you can call it, on onboarding of schools on Skill India portal for the Skill Hubs PMKVY 4.0. It's a privilege to have with us Mr. R.P. Singh, who's a Joint Secretary who has joined in. Dr. Saha, our Director, is also part of this meeting. And we also have the people from NSDC, the officials who would be a part of this session and will take us through the modalities of this skill hub under PMKVY 4.0. We have with us Nancy, who's a senior analyst at NSDC, government programs. Then we have Kulsum, who is sort of a spot for us, CBSC. From NSDC, and then Mr. Vikas, who's a technical expert, again from the NSDC. So a warm welcome to the panelists as well. And as we all know that National Education Policy of India has emphasized the need for promoting skill development in schools. And the Ministry of Skill Education, MSD and Entrepreneurship has been implementing PMKVY since 2015 to create industry-ready workforce and enhance employability skills. So the PMKVY, as we all know by now, targets the school dropouts, out-of-school children and unemployed youth. In the year 2021, CBSC has already introduced and implemented skill hubs in some of the schools as a pilot. Now, the Government of India has announced PMKVY 4.0. So CBSC is into the process of implementing it in the schools that are affiliated with CBSC. We had a circular number 122, which was launched on 11th October, which details out everything about the onboarding process and how the modalities would be taken up in this particular Skill Hub initiative. We also had a webinar on 19th October for all the private schools of CBSC. And in a similar series, now today we are gathered here where all the state government schools who are part of the CBSC fraternity would be joining us or have joined us in this particular webinar. So I will not take much of your time, and I would request Mr. R.P. Singh to please have a common introduction, and then we will give the floor to our panelists who would take us through the entire procedures. So over to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Nitiji. As Nitiji has already informed about the reason behind having this initiative wherein the skill hubs are being opened in schools to utilize the infrastructure in the spare time or on non-working days and give skill training short-term courses to the students as well as to the community. Now, this initiative is a very ambitious and a very big initiative. Opening up school hubs in the school is a beginning of this initiative. We are targeting to train a lot of people who are part of the school as well as who are part of the community to create a skilled workforce, and also through this portal, the ministry envisages to fulfill the requirement of the industry, wherein they can just put in their requirement about the kind of workforce or the skill set ready person they would require on this website, and this website from the database will give them that these many persons are available. So onboarding is the first step on this portal, and then registering your students on the portal to become a part of the central database, wherein they can be registered as a skilled person on the national database, as and when the requirement occurs, they can be called from that website. So if all the CBSE schools become part of this, it's going to be very nice for the community, wherein we will be able to have lot of workforce, and we will be becoming providers of workforce to foreign countries. Not only software, we can be sending human people, because our people are anyways going to foreign countries. Now, if skilled manpower goes into the industry, whether it's national or international industry, then it becomes very good for the industrial revolution that is going to take place. Now, the first and the foremost, onboarding, how it is to be done, NSDC is taking care of that, and Nancy is here to tell us about how the onboarding can be done. It's a very simple process, and it's A very interesting process. Also, when you do it, you'll find out a very lot of things about yourself also. But the people who are CBSE affiliated, they know the CBSE affiliation process. So for them, this is not going to be very difficult. And once you're onboarded, you become a training partner, and then you can mobilize the community to have courses, which you can also choose from the website. Then it's attendance linked, and then we have been assured that there's going to be some grant or monetary benefits to the students who are going to do it from here. So instead of giving information on my side, I'll pass it on to NSDC, who will give you the correct and updated information from the website also. And for that, I'll hand over the proceedings to Nitiji, who will then coordinate with Nancy and the NSDC team. I'll also come towards the end to take the questions if there are any. And I wish you all the best and hope that all the schools who have participated here will be onboarding themselves onto the Skill India portal so that they can become a training partner with NSTC and CBSE and become part of this ministry's initiative. Thank you so much, Nitiji. Back to you.
Thank you so much for setting the tone, Mr. Singh. And as sir has already pointed out, we would be taking up the question and answer later after the presentation is over. So it is requested that kindly keep putting in your questions. It will be best if you can just put the question on the chat and our team would take it up one by one. Later on also, we can open the floor for the people to pitch in and ask their queries. So over to you, Nancy. Thank you so much for being a part of the session. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Niti ma'am and sir, for introduction. And you already have introduced us from my colleagues and me to all the schools principals and all. First of all, I would like to thank you all for joining this meeting. We will take you through the presentation, and the whole presentation is divided in three parts. So in first part of the presentation, we will tell you about what is PMKVY all about, and then the prerequisites of PMKVY 4.0. And in the second phase of the presentation, we will take you through the processes and modalities of implementing PMKVY 4 and on ground. And in the third phase of presentation, we will take you to the financial part of the program. Okay, so Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, it is a flagship scheme of MSDE, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and NSDC is implementing body of PMKVY 4.0. So PMKVY 4.0 will be implemented from like 2022 to 26, and so it is a short-term training and recognition of prior learning. So these two programs are the part of PMKVY flagship scheme, short-term training and recognition of prior learning. So our target is to train 1.5 crore candidates in next 3 years. So the short-term training is generally a training of 3 to 6 months, and RPL is for 1 week. Okay, so what is difference between these two programs? So RPL is generally for the laborers or the manpower who is already skilled and who are already employed, but who doesn't have any kind of certification. So they are taking the participation in recognition of prior learning and taking the training of 3 to 6 days, and then they are benefiting from the certification of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Then free skilling. So what are the benefits of this training program? The free skilling training to the candidates in various skilling courses. There are around 600 plus job roles which has been approved under PMKVY program to enhance the candidates' employability. So who all are the targeted beneficiaries under these schemes? So 15 to 45 years of age groups are the targeted beneficiaries for short-term training. This short-term training is generally for skilling, reskilling, and upskilling of the candidates of the beneficiaries.
Nancy ma'am, can I disturb you for a minute, please?
Yeah.
I think there are some issues. They just want that please try to make it a full screen if possible. There are 3 dots. I think another 3 dots. If you would click, it will become a full screen.
And show. And show. Last one.
I'm trying, ma'am. I'm trying.
Yeah. And the show. You can, if you do end show, then it will become, I think, the full screen mode.
And show.
Just put an end show.
Last one.
Is it fine, ma'am?
It's better. Okay. Slideshow. No, no. So you can revert back to the second option. That was better.
Okay.
Second option. You can continue with it.
Yeah, so method of like for RPL, the age group is 18 to 59 years of age, and method of training is completely full-time classroom training. There is no online, there is no blended kind of training is applicable here. So only the full-time classroom training will be imparted to the students. Okay, the training duration for short-term training is 200 hours to 600 hours, and for RPL it is 30 to 132 hours. And who can participates in the training for as a training partner. So government institutes are there, private training centers, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Kendra is also there, and skill hub in schools and ITIs, etc. So 3 to 7 like NSQF level of training is available under this scheme. And post training there is a benefit of self employment and wage employment apprenticeship as well. Now we will talk about the prerequisites of Skill Hub. So infrastructure. So before uh, implementing the project on the ground, the few things which has to be considered, that is infrastructure. Yes, the classrooms would be available for conducting the theory and practical training. And the second important point is like Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance system. ABAS is mandatory here. So Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance system has to be installed at each and every centers, and attendance has to be marked through the ABAS device only. So the manual attendance will not be considered under this scheme as per the scheme guidelines. Only Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance system, all the candidate has to mark their attendance through ABAS device. The second prerequisite is trainer. The trainer in skilling ecosystem, we used to call teacher as a trainer. So trainer will be one who will be imparting training to the candidates, and available and teach the teachers available in your institution with the domain experience can also be work as a trainer and impart training to the beneficiaries enrolled under the scheme. Okay, and institutes will also be allowed to hire certified trainers and teachers from the pool of registered Skill India digital portal. Suppose in any case the sufficient teachers are not available inside the school, in that case the institutions can also hire the trainers from outside the school. In the other prerequisites, the principal may use the services of dedicated resource, because the teachers may not have a sufficient time or maybe sufficient resources. The school doesn't have like sufficient resources. In that case, the principal may hire a dedicated resource for mobilizing the candidates. And the target group for the training under Skiller will be 40 is to 60 ratio, that 40% students would be in school candidates, and remaining 60% should be out schools candidates. That in schools means the students who is already a part of education, schools education system, and the out schools means who are the dropouts and who are not taking any kind of like training from anywhere else, so they can be take up a part under this program. So on the job training is also mandatory as per the job rules. So as I have mentioned that there are 600 plus job rules which has been approved under PMKVY 4.0. So in all the job rules, OJT is not mandatory, but there are few job rules which is demanding OJT on the job training. So in that case, the OJT has to be like provided to the students. So institutes will be responsible for arranging the establishment, like the tie up with the industry partners, tie up with the companies, organization, to offer the OJT to the candidates, where the students can do the OJT, have some practical knowledge regarding the subject, and then the OJT letter will be provided from the employer to the candidates. And again, the school will be responsible to mobilize the candidates, and paid mobilizers and UDI's data can also be like used for mobilizing the students, and the support from district skill committee. So there are district skill committee in each and every district, which is headed by district collector, and the panchayat support can also be taken to mobilize the candidates. Then the assessment and certification would be done through the third party agency. So there are third party agency for conducting the assessment at your respective center. So once the training will be completed, the assessment will be conducted at the respective training center. So the sector skill council, I think 35 plus sector skill council is there for and which all for conducting the assessment, and all the awarding bodies are approved by NCVT, National Council for Vocational Education and Training. And there is one more benefit for the schools, that is like center affiliation and accreditation is exempted. However, like a center accreditation and affiliation means we are not doing any kind of due diligence before launching the batches at the center, but there is a defined square feet areas and defined equipment list are there, which is inspected, and we as we can say like due diligence is conducted at the respective centers, and after that the training physical training will be organized. But here in SHI, this center accreditation and affiliation is exempted, as the because it is a schools and it is already approved by some like government agencies, so they will be required. But yes, there should be a like adequate infrastructure should be available, like classrooms should be there, labs should be there, trainers should be there. Now I will take you through the process flow. What is the process flow for implementing this project on the ground? So the very first step for implementing this project on the ground is to show your interest through the CLAPIA form. So we have designed one CLAPIA form, which looks like a Google form. So few information which we will ask you to fill to show your interest. Okay, so to collect this demand or willingness of Skill Hub to participate under PMKVY 4.0. And after collecting the demand from the institutions, we are like sending the target allocation email to the respective institutions. And then after sending the target allocation email, the very next step is to like onboard the schools on Skill India digital portal. As sir has mentioned, all the school has to be onboard themselves on Skill India digital portal. So when in our language we used to call it training provider ID, that is TPID. So TPID will be created of the respective institution. So after TPID creation, the on the TPID the bank details has to be uploaded, the PAN number has to be uploaded, COI certificate like certificate of incorporation has to be uploaded there, and post that the TCID process will begin. So for TCID creation, we are sending one annexure form with the respective institutions, and they are providing information through the annexure, and we are creating the TCID accordingly. TCID stands for Training Center ID. So what is the difference between Training Provider ID and Training Center ID? The major difference between these two IDs, the Training Provider ID is where we are validating the existence of the schools, and training center is generally the center where the training will be conducted. Now the trainer registration will also the teacher, the facilitator who will be imparting training to the student has to be registered on Skill India digital portal. So in our skill development language we call him trainer. So the trainer ID will be created once the trainer is like registered on Skill India digital portal. Then assessors. So this is the CLAPIA form. It look like this. Like when once you will open this link, the dashboard will look like this. So it will ask you to fill few information like state name, district name, institution type, institution name, and point of contact and principal email. So point of contact here can be the principal of the respective schools, because we got a multiple queries that who will be the point of contact for our schools. So the principal can be the point of contact for the respective schools while creating the TPID or while filling the CLAPIA form. But for TC creation, generally trainer or some other project manager can be the point of contact. So now I will take you through the TP training provider ID creation process. So as I have mentioned, to participate under Skill Hub initiative, the institute has to register as a training provider on Skill India digital portal. So this is the step. The first login to the Skill India digital portal. And then once you will log into the Skill India digital portal, you will get an option to register yourself. So just allow me a minute. I'm just browsing the Skill India digital portal. Yeah. So website is www.skillindiadigital.gov.in. So once you will visit this portal, you will get an option to register now. So once you will click on register now, you will get a desktop like this, dashboard like this, and here you will get a multiple option in a drop down boxes. So you are going to register yourself as a training provider. So training provider has to be selected from the drop down list, and then the name of the spokesperson has to be furnished here. So name the principal can be the spokesperson for the respective school, so the name of the principal of will be filled here. So after putting the name of the principal, the second option, it will ask you to fill the email id, email address. So principal or school email address can be furnished over there, and then mobile number of the school or principal. And then after filling these details, just click on I agree the terms and condition, I am not a robot, and then click on register button. The moment you will click on register button, the training provider credentials will be sent to the respective spock mail id. Okay, so after getting this mail ID, then again you will get an option to log in now. So once you will click on login, it will ask you to fill TP ID and the password, which you will get it in the Spock email ID. So after putting the name and sorry, TP ID and the password, then one application form will open in front of you. So it will look like this. So the very first question which the application will ask you to select whether your organization is government entity or private entity. So in the first option, accordingly you will have to select the, if your organization is private, in that case you can select no, or if it is like government entity, in that case you can choose yes. So after entering this, the very next question, it will ask what kind of documents you are going to upload it as a evidence of your like school identity. So there are multiple options which will be visible in the drop down box. Like you can upload PAN card, TAN card, UDI certificate of your schools, or or maybe the any documents which is signed by the gazetted officer. Post that, your name of the organization will automatically fetch from the your PAN documents or PAN numbers or TAN number, whatever identity proof you are going to upload it here. So after that, it will ask you to furnish the year of establishment, and it should be the same year which is mentioned on the documents. Okay, and then the same documents has to be uploaded. After uploading the documents, then the next question, it will ask approval process. Uh, then like entity has to be after selecting the, after uploading the like certificate of incorporation, the next question, it will ask you to fill the SPOC details. So SPOC can be like principal of your school, or maybe head of your schools, and CEO, MD of your schools. So the SPOC details will be furnished in the TPID application, and post that, it will ask you to fulfill address of the schools. So address of the school, and the evidence folder, you can upload like a telephone bill and electricity bill of your respective schools. And then it will ask you to select the approval process. So there will be two options in the approval process. The first will be accreditation and affiliation, and second is non-accreditation and affiliation. So all the institution who are coming under SHI is will go through the non-accreditation and affiliation process. As I have mentioned in the previous slides, accreditation and affiliation is exempted for SHI, for the institutions who are going to be onboarded through under the SHI program. Then the next question, it will ask you to fill proposal ID. In proposal ID, you can mention your TP ID, and then you can proceed and you can submit the application. And once the application is submitted, it will go to our center accreditation and affiliation team for conducting desk assessment. Okay. So NSDC team will be NSDC like center accreditation team will be conduct like will conduct the center accreditation and affiliation, and they will validate all the documents which is uploaded over there. Okay, like the pan card, electricity bill, telephone bills, all the documents, it will be validated, and accordingly the status will be accorded on the TP portal. Suppose if everything is all right from invalidation, then your TP application will be accorded as deemed ready. That means your application has been like approved for further process. And in any case your application is accorded as deemed not ready, that means that your application has been rejected due to some discrepancies on the in the application. In that case the application can be resubmitted, and you will also get the remarks on the reason of rejection in the SPOC mail ID. So you can check the remarks why the application has been rejected, and accordingly you can get it rectified and resubmit the application for conducting the desk assessment. Okay, so once your TP application is approved, the very next step is TC ID creation, training center ID creation. For training center ID creation, we are sending one annexure, one Excel sheet, a kind of format with all the institution to provide the details of training centers, and accordingly we are sending the training center ID to the respective partner. Okay, and like in annexures there will be job role wise bifurcation. Suppose if you have allocated 120 numbers, so for 120 numbers what will be the job role wise bifurcation of all 120 numbers. So all these details we are collecting through the TC annex or TC creation annexer, and accordingly we are creating the TC ID. So post verification of TC creation, a training center ID and password to access the login will be shared with the respective single point of contact of the training center. And then the TC will give a further access to the training center to manage the entire life cycle. So all the entire life cycle of the training will happen through the TC ID only. Okay, like batch creation, batch submission, enrollment, candidate registration, attendance monitoring, everything will happen through the TC application. So we will also be sharing this list of approved job roles through your emails after this call. So after creating the TC ID, once you will log into a TC application, your TC dashboard will look like this. So you will get a multiple option your TC application, like my schemes, Rozgar Mela, my staff, my candidates, candidate mark set. And you will also be getting like multiple cards on your dashboard. So first card is like my CAF submit, so it is exempted, so there is no need to submit any kind of CAF is actually center accreditation and affiliation form. So center accreditation and affiliation is exempted here under SHI, so there is no need to submit the CAF form. Again the second card is showing as a view application. Again it is not applicable here, there no need to view the application. And then the view batches, so this all cards are of no use under SHI. This is for other like schemes and other projects. So directly after login to your TC application, you will just have to visit the my schemes option in the top bar. So in top bar you will be able to see like dashboard, Rozgar Mela or my schemes. So directly you will have to visit the my schemes. So once you will visit the my schemes, you will get a two cards again in front of you, like view schemes and monitoring process. So from these two cards you will have to select the view schemes. So the moment you will click on view schemes button, again the three cards will be open in front of you. The first card is like view job roles, view trainers, and view all batches. So in view job roles you will be able to see the job roles which is like mapped to your respective TC. And the view trainers is for like seeing the trainers who all will be associated with the batch or with the training center. And now the view all batches cards is to see the number of batches which has been created under the respective training center ID. Okay, so there is one more process of project ID creation. So generally the main objective of creating the project is to make all the job roles available in the TC ID. Okay, so after getting the TCID, it's not that all the job roles and schemes will be visible in the TCID. Sometimes we get a query that, ma'am, our job roles is not visible in the TCID. So the main reason behind it is the project is not created. So the main purpose of creating the project ID is to make only the job roles available in your TCID. There's no other objective of creating the project ID. There's only one motto: to make all the job roles available in your TC. Okay, so after like clicking on view batches, you will get an option to create batch. So once you will click on create batch, the one application form will open in front of you. It will ask you to fill batch details, QP job roles detail, classroom and lab details is exempted, and trainer details. Okay, so in batch details, you can mention like batch, what will be the batch size, what will be the per hour, per day training hours, and what will be the timing for the batches, etc. So all this detail has to be furnished in the batch creation application, and then the same batch has to be submitted. The moment you will click on submit the batch, create the batch, you will get one batch ID for your reference. Okay, so after creating the batch, the candidate registration process will start, and the candidate registration process will start. So here in PMKVY, for earlier eKYC was not mandatory, but in this scheme in PMKVY 4.0, eKYC is also mandatory. So for that, there are few checklist which has to be checked before starting the candidate registration. The first checklist is the candidate Aadhaar number must be linked with the mobile number, because during the eKYC process, the one OTP will be triggered to the candidate's mobile number. So the mobile number must be linked to the Aadhaar number. In any case, if the student's mobile number is not linked to the Aadhaar card, you may send them to nearest CSC center or Aadhaar center to get their Aadhaar, to get the mobile number linked to their Aadhaar number. Okay. And the second thing is like age. Second checklist is age. As I have mentioned in the first slide, the 15 to 45 years of age group can be participated under PMKVY 4.0. So all the students' age has to be checked whether they are falling between 15 to 45 or not. And the fourth thing is the file pictures of the candidate has to be collected and has to be saved in the like the person who is going to register the students. Okay, so this checklist has to be first prepared with yourself, and then the candidate registration process can begin. So while registering the candidates, there is a separate portal for candidate registration, which is like www.skillindiadigital.gov.in. So once you will click on this link, uh, let me take you through the website as well. So this is the Skill India digital portal. So here on the screen, you will get option to in the orange box to register the candidate. So once you will click on register the candidates, the two cards again will be displaying in front of you. The first card is learner and second card is partner. So you are going to register the candidates. So so the first option has to be selected here as learner. So once you will click on learner, then it will ask you to fill mobile number. Okay, the candidate's mobile number has to be furnished here. So once the candidate mobile number will be furnished, the one OTP will be triggered in the candidate's mobile number. The same OTP has to be filled, and then accordingly all the education details, age, Aadhaar number, and everything has to be filled in the application form of candidate registration. Okay, but this time it is a demand-driven like training program, so it is completely in the candidate hand. that which job role they want to pick and like build want to build their career. So after login to the candidate credentials, the candidate need to select PMKVY 4.0 as you can see in the screenshot. So the candidate will choose PMKVY 4.0 to show their interest. So once the candidate will click on PMKVY 4.0, the multiple schemes name will be visible in the dashboard. Because there are multiple central government and state governments skill development schemes are running across pan India. So the multiple scheme will be visible in front of the candidates. So here specifically, short-term training under skill hub has to be picked. Once the candidate will click on PMKVY's STT under skill hub, the sector has to be selected, the sector name and the job role name has to be selected. So they can like filter, they can put a filter on the sector name. They will get a multiple sector name such as like agriculture, automotive, all the sectors will be visible in the candidate dashboard. So after picking the right sector, the candidate has to pick the job role as well. Okay, so in which job role they want to like take the training. So once they will pick the job roles, the next option it will be highlighted in the candidate dashboard is to show the interest. So all the batches which are created a day before under training center will be visible under a particular job role. So once they will click on show interest, the multiple job roles will be visible in the candidate dashboard. And they can also filter the batches by putting the start date or district name or state name. And after that, select the checkbox of the particular batch in which you want to apply. There are multiple batches will be visible in the candidate login, so they can choose any of the batches as per their preference and feasibility. And after clicking on the batches, they can show the interest to the respective batch. So once they will submit the request to the respective batch, one application form will open. The same application has to be filled. It will ask the candidate to fill like name, date of birth, religion, and all. So on successful completion of interest, the one congrats message will be displayed to the candidates, and then that their application is submitted. And maximum candidate can choose a 5 batches and show their interest, and then the request will be triggered to the training center dashboard. So in training center dashboard, there was a card of view candidate interest. So so these cards has to be picked from there. And once you will click on these cards, so candidate list will be showing in the pending list for approval. So once the TC will get the candidate approved from the TC application, again the acceptance has to be given from the candidate's login. So again the candidate will log into their credentials, and in the application folder they will get an option to accept the approval. So after accepting the approval, the candidates names will be visible in the respective batches. So once the candidate accept the request, it will be moved to the accepted section, and the candidate's name will be visible under batch, from where the training center staff can directly enroll the candidates into the batches for the further process. So while enrolling the candidates in the further process, it will ask you to update the profile picture of the candidates. So whatever profile picture will be updated in the candidate profile, the same photograph will be printed on the certificates after completion of training. So this is the responsibility of the person who is registering the candidates must check the candidate profile picture, because sometimes we get a request from the training partner to change the profile picture of the candidate. They used to like upload a dummy picture of the candidates for a while, and then once the same dummy picture is printed on the certificates, we get the request to change the same. So it is a very lengthy process to change the profile picture of the candidates on the certificates. So make sure that correct picture is uploaded in the candidate profile so that the same can be like printed on the certificate. Okay, so after updating the profile picture, all the student has to mark like in school or out schools. As I have mentioned in the first slide, the under PMKVY 4.0, there is a 40 is to 60 ratio. 40% should be in school candidate and remaining 60 should be out school candidates. So here the same has to be updated. The candidate whoever is mobilized from outside the schools has to be marked in out school, and whoever is already a part of education system can be marked as in school candidates. So after marking all the students in school and out schools, the batches has to be submitted to sector skill council or awarding bodies. So after submitting the batches to the awarding bodies, all the student the registration process of all the students will begin on the ABAS portal, Aadhaar enabled biometric portal. Okay, then now these are the training life cycle on SIP and attendance monitoring. So daily attendance. So that's all about the candidate registration process. Now I will walk you through the training life cycle on SIP, Skill India Digital Portal, and attendance monitoring. So daily attendance of the candidate has to be marked on ABAS portal, Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance portal, and both check-in and check-out. Before starting the classes, the student can mark their attendance within the 5 minutes of batch started on ABAS portal, and check out after the classes get over on, they can mark the checkout attendance on the ABAS portal. So if any batches found where the 70% attendance of the batch size is not marked within the first 20 days of batch start date, will be auto cancelled on Skill India Digital Portal. So there is a provision of batch cancellation as well. So the system is itself designed. It will calculate the attendance of 20 days of first start date, and if they are not matching with this eligibility criteria, then batches will be auto cancelled on the SIP portal. And then the attendance will be monitored against each and every candidates on hourly basis. Hourly basis as in, suppose if the total job roles hours is 300 hours, 300 hours, so the candidate has to achieve 70% of 300 hours to make themselves eligible for the assessment. If the attendance is below 70% or below 70% of 300 hours, in that case the student will not be getting permission to appear in the assessment. So each candidate should attend 70% of the training hours. Sometimes the TP get confusion that the 70% of total batch or 70% total of candidates of each and every candidate. So here each and every candidate should attend 70% of total training hours within the batch ended to become eligible to appear for the final assessment. And attendance can also be downloaded through the ABAS portal, and they can download the trainer or the teacher or maybe the project manager can download the attendance on weekly basis or maybe monthly basis for doing the analysis. And suppose in any case the students are not meeting the attendance criteria, suppose anyone is like having 68% attendance, in that case the TC can extend their batch end date for the respective period of time so that the student can meet the eligibility criteria of attendance. But one more thing, the batch can be extended before passing the original end date on the TC portal. Suppose the on TC portal the batch end date is 3rd November. Okay, in that case, the TC can extend the batch end date till 2nd November. Because once the original end date will be crossed on the TC portal, the portal will not allow you to extend the batch end date further. Now we will walk you through the financial provision of the scheme. So the average training cost would be around 10,000 rupees per candidate for 300 hours, and out of which 8,000 approx will be paid to the institutions and remaining will go to the different agency who are like different stakeholders of the programs. So on assessment and certification, 600 rupees will be paid to the assessment agency per candidates, and induction kit facilities is also there. So it is around 500 rupees. And accidental insurance for 1 year, it is 14,000 rupees, which will go to the like insurance agencies. And ABAS transaction fee, the per candidate ABAS transaction fee is rupees 10, and it will go to NIC, National Information Center. And the mobile tracking allowance is also go to some other agencies, third party agencies. And now the second part will go to the institution. It will be paid disbursed to the institutions. So training cost will directly be paid through the NSDC in three different tranches. So for all three different tranches, there are milestone which has to be achieved. So the first tranche is 30%, which is on enrollment and achievement of tranche one ABAS compliance. Okay, I have also mentioned in the previous slide that if the batches attendance is not 70% within the 20 days of batch start date, in that case the batch will be automatically cancelled on the TC portal. So this that provision is also like milestone for getting the tranches. So and the second tranche is again 30%, which will be triggered in mid training for the candidates who met 70% attendance on ABAS and 70% attendance on ABAS, and the 50% of total QPRs should be completed, and each and every candidates against that 50% should achieve 70% attendance. That means if the job roles hours is 300 hours, so for getting the second tranche 150 hours must be completed, and in 150 hours all the student attendance would be 70%. Now the third tranche is again third tranche is 40%, which is on certification and which will be paid against past candidates only. So if by any case if some amount is due from first and second tranche, will be adjusted in third tranche. Okay, so this is all about the financial provision and SHI schemes. Now the forum is open for question answer session. If you have any questions regarding SHI PMKVY, you may ask. We will be happy to answer it.
Think you have covered everything, because if people can really go through it, they would be able to, onboard it. I'm pretty sure about it. There are a few questions that are coming up from different forums. One very important question that is coming again and again is that, like, if they are facing any challenges while onboarding on the SIP portal or the digital portal, whatever you call it, then how should they rectify it, and what is the process? Because I also understand very clearly they're saying that they would be sitting on it with the process to get completed within a time frame, and suddenly they get stuck up somewhere. So what's the best way to get it sorted out?
Ma'am, as I have mentioned, Ms. Kulsum is dedicated SPOC for CBSE school, and she is conducting a meeting on regular basis for taking the queries regarding the onboarding process. So she will be conducting the meetings, and if someone is getting any doubt while while filling the TP application, they may join the meeting and ask clarify their queries. And in any case the schools is not available for joining the meeting, they can also write an email to us, and like indicating the same, the what kind of problem they are facing, and then we will contact the respective institutions.
So that means the name of the SPOC has to be circulated, because then only they would be able to get it. So is there any provision by NSDC that they are also handholding them and circulating the name of the SPOC?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So what we are doing is we are inviting all the institutions, and we are suggesting all the institutions to join it from the laptop. And in the meeting itself, we are guiding what details has to be fill in the application, and accordingly, the institution are filling the same, and they are submitting in front of us only.
Okay, so I think that I think all of you are able to get a clarity, and this is a very very good way of putting it out. I have just a minute. Dr. Abdul Jalil has written, can we get the contact number for a hand holding and onboarding if required? So it would be nice if we can share on this chat the number, or in some way in the presentation that we can share the name of Kulsum and her email ID, so that at least the people who have joined in today and would be using, like, because we would be putting this particular presentation in our YouTube channel as skill unit of CBSE. So later on also, whenever they have time, the schools and the representatives can go through it and try to get in touch with the SPOC. So I think that'll be nice if it can be shared, and I'll also ask my team to please put in the name here on the chat itself. Okay, so one more thing which Pankaj Kumar Gupta is asking, he asks, we have to take 10,000 from the students. I can't understand what he means, but I think you would be able to get it. Sir, Pankaj sir, you'll have to clarify what we are talking about, because I don't understand in any of the entire presentation of an hour we are talking about taking anything from these students. So you'll have to clarify this query of yours. Okay, another query that is coming here is that what all documents are required initially to get onboarded, and how would the process go? So if they have that list, because I'll also pitch in on the behalf of the school, what happens is that at times it's not always the principal who would sit down and do all the thing. They would take help from their technical team or for their vice principal and things like that. So once they have an idea of these are the things that are required, then that can be put on hold before sitting on the computer for doing the needful. So Nancy, if you can elaborate on that.
So the very first document is certificate of incorporation. So the portal will ask you to upload certificate of incorporation. So in certificate of incorporation, you can upload UDICE certificate of your respective school, UDICE or TAN certificate, PAN certificate. And if all these three documents are not available with the institutions, they can also upload any documents or annexures which is signed by gazetted officer of the respective school, gazetted officer.
Fine, thank you so much. I think that this you had already mentioned in your presentation.
Yeah. So apart from this COI certification, the another documents which the application will ask you to upload is address proof. So in address proof, you may upload telephone bill of the institution, or maybe electricity bill of the institution. These two documents is mandatory for filling the application.
I think that is a very very elaborate answer. I think nobody should be putting in any query on this now. Another very interesting query that has come in is, how many photo IDs to be uploaded?
Photo IDs of whom? Candidate, TP.
I don't know. That's an open-ended question. So I understand they just want to know the clarity about the photo IDs. So yeah, basically, I think in totality, while you get onboarded or while you get into the implementation stage, so how many photo IDs? Like, I can understand that when you are creating a TC and a TP ID, then do you need a photo ID? Or when you are enrolling the students and putting the candidates, then do you need a photo ID? So these are the things they would be requiring scanned or in some form before really they start putting in. So I think that is what they might be asking.
So for submitting the TP application, there is no requirement of uploading any kind of photo ID on the TP application, in the TP application. And while creating the TC ID also, there is no need to upload any kind of picture, because we will be sending one annexure to all the institution, and the institution has to provide the details to us for creating the TC ID. So there's the pictures is not required at all. And now coming to the candidate registration, yes, during the candidate registration, the profile picture has to be uploaded. The candidate photograph has to be uploaded, and same picture will be printed on the certificates. of the candidates.
Yes, so I think if you were there as participants, I'm just adding to what you've been answering. She has also mentioned in her presentation that please don't put in any ID in the initial stage, because you want to complete the data and you said okay, it is not there or this person is not available, because later on changing it or replacing it becomes a challenge. So that is one thing that should be avoided. Am I right? That's very important.
Yes, ma'am, you are right. Yes.
Right. Fine. Because what I'll do, it is already, what's the time now? We are 4:08. So I'll just take three, four quick questions. And we have also shared in the details of Kulsum. I hope my team kindly also share the mobile number and other things again, so that the others can really, jot it down. Another question that has come in is, does it have a timeline? What is the timeline or a deadline to put in for this process, or you can say?
Ma'am, so there is no a specific timeline has been decided yet, but yes, it is completely up to the funds. If the PMKY fund will be exhausted, then we may ask institution to stop the enrollment process.
Okay. One quick question. They said that, ma'am, in the presentation you have talked about the centers that would handhold if required, and one can go to the centers for any clarity or any confusion. So, can they have a list of such centers, or how would they know that such a center is there anyway?
For hand holding, I think there is some confusion. I have not mentioned that there is some centers for hand holding. So hand holding will be done from the NSDC head office.
Okay, okay. So I think that there was a confusion. Maybe there was some gentleman who has put in this query. So I think that has also been answered now. I have a few more, but they are very general questions, and I think they are all related to the onboarding challenges only. If we do this, then this one comes in. Another thing which the schools per se CBSE are asking, which this I am asking on my behalf because I'm getting a lot of mails regarding it, that and when I've looked into the dashboard also, I'll just put it here, we are not anywhere, no training partner is involved into the process that we as CBSE do. So basically what we do is, like, it is the principal, the institution in itself, and the students, and we are the facilitators or the umbrella body for these schools. So there is not a provision, or somewhere down the line when they are putting in, they are getting confused about a training provider or a training partner. So then they look around, and I also agree that if such a confusion happens, somebody might just say, okay, we'll help you out. So we don't want to get into that loop, but can you just a little clarify or give them that answer on this, please?
Yeah. So the training provider here is institution itself. So subletting is strictly not allowed in under the scheme. So the if we are using the training provider means this, we are talking about the institutions. We are talking about the respective schools, not any third party agencies like XYZ private
Right.
organization.
So I think the persons who have been asking this query, it should be very clear to them, wherever you have anywhere when you're filling a form or when you are doing anything, if any such things comes, you can always put a nil, you can always put NA, and then the rest would be taken care by the authorities who are dealing with the entire process. So you should not worry about it. And one, just the last question that I will take. Sometimes what happens that the schools are writing to me and the department and others, that whenever they are filling in some sort of the PAN number or whatever the details are there, it says the TPID already taken or the TCID already taken. So in such case, what is the solution?
Yeah, so the reason behind it, I think there's the multiple schools are registered under one organization. I think one that society or maybe non-governmental organization. So they that may be the possibilities if they are trying to like registered as a TP. It is showing that your PAN is already exist. In that case, I have given the multiple option to get uploaded over there. Like they can also upload UDI certificate, STAN certificate. The PAN number can be the same for the organization, but this UDIs and TAN certificate will be like completely a unique identity of the schools. So they may use that document for like creating the TP ID.
Yes, and I would also add to it that the best would be, even if there is a body which has multiple schools, still the school ID in itself and the school principal as the SPOC should be treated as an individual identity.
Yes.
So if you do that, it will be much easier, and it will not clash with a similar school under any management's umbrella trying to create a TP or a TC IDs. So that is what it is. So I think we can call it a day today, and thank you so much for being here and all the participants who are there. Please try to share this information with others also who have not been able to be a part of this forum today, and hopefully by tomorrow we would be uploading this edited version of this particular webinar on our skill unit YouTube channel, so you can always go there and put in your queries. Thank you so much. It was wonderful interacting with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.